Have you ever really thought about what makes a belief, a conviction, truly unshakable? What's the difference between a fleeting idea and a deep, permanent sense of purpose that just doesn't waver? Well, today we're going to dive into that very question, and we're going to do it through a really powerful story about a moment of crisis and a profound choice. So it all kicks off with this statement right here. Just try to put yourself in that scene for a second. You're in a crowd, you're listening to this teacher you really admire, and then he comes out with this. It's confusing, right? It's definitely provocative, and for a whole lot of people there, it was pretty much the last straw. This one sentence, it created a massive turning point for his followers.
And the reaction? It was instant. People didn't just disagree or ask questions, they were straight up offended. They got up and they just walked away. But here's the really fascinating part, the part you gotta pay attention to. The people leaving, they weren't strangers. They weren't his critics. These were his disciples.
Okay, so this brings us right to our first big idea, what the source calls a hard saying. That one teaching that was so offensive it caused so many people to just turn their backs and leave.
Let this sink in for a minute. The people who left were all in. They'd been following him for a while, they had supported his work with their own money, and they had even seen him perform actual miracles with their own eyes. And yet, despite all of that history, all that investment, one hard saying, one single teaching they couldn't wrap their heads around was enough to make them ditch the whole thing.
So after this huge chunk of his followers just walks out, the story pivots. The focus narrows right down to that inner circle, the ones who stayed. And this brings us to our second section, the pivotal question.
With so many people gone, Jesus turns to his closest friends, his core group, and he asks this really direct, almost vulnerable question. Are you guys going to leave too? Talk about a moment of truth. This is a real test of loyalty. What were they going to do? Were they going to follow the crowd?
And this is Simon Peter's incredible response. It's not an argument, it's not a defense, it's a statement of just ultimate conviction. He's basically saying, where else would we even go? You have what we've been looking for. This isn't just about being loyal, it's a declaration that they are permanently in.
So, you might be wondering, okay, that's a great story from 2,000 years ago, but what's it got to do with us today? Well, the source material draws a straight line from then to now, which brings us to section 3, the unsettled heart. The main issue it points to is this lack of spiritual stability. It's this tendency to get knocked off course really easily, Whether it's by an idea you don't like, a comment that feels like a criticism, or even just some rumor you heard. It's this state of being constantly unsettled. And this chart here just lays out the two mindsets perfectly. On the one side, you've got this attitude that's super fragile. It's easily shaken, quick to get offended, and ready to pull back at the first sign of trouble. But on the other side, you've got a stance that's built on deep conviction. It's strong, it's reliable, it's totally unwavering, just like Peter's was. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? How do you avoid having that unstable mindset? Well, that leads us right into our fourth section, which offers a path forward, the idea of becoming rooted and grounded. What a powerful metaphor, right? This isn't about being loosely connected to your beliefs. It's about having the very roots of your being, your identity, your purpose, everything, planted so firmly and deeply into something solid that it can't be easily pulled up. And the source points to scripture that actually breaks this down into a kind of roadmap. It's a process. So first you get firmly planted. Then you're continually being built up from that solid foundation. That process is what helps you become really established and strong in your faith. And all of it is wrapped up in this overflowing sense of gratitude. And that all brings us to our final section, and really the core message of this whole explainer, choosing deep conviction. Because being rooted and grounded, well, that's not something that just happens by accident. It's a choice. So this is the big takeaway. That stability, it's a choice. You can actually choose to not be easily shaken. You can decide to cultivate the kind of stability that can handle the hard sayings and the moments of doubt. It's an active decision to build your life on a foundation that will last. And what does that look like in the end? Well, the goal is a permanent foundation. It means your conviction isn't shallow, it's deep, it's strong. It means you're reliable. And it lets you follow your path with real steadfastness, loyalty, and focus, no matter what storms come your way. So, we'll end with this question, something for you to really reflect on. When things get difficult, when you hear that hard saying in your own life, what is it that keeps you anchored? What is the foundation of your conviction?